Hello everyone, so welcome you all to Ashok Tutorials Megaday's first MTech channel. So as you know that I have been teaching health education for a couple of days, right? So I have started with class 10 health education. So we have completed unit 1 and this video is about unit 2 chapter 3. Alright, so actually what I was doing was I was directly explaining from the textbook, but some of my friends they suggested that it will be better if I make use of slides, right? PPTs. So that's why from this video onwards I'll try my best to make my videos on PPT or on slides. All right, so all right, so let us see with the next slide what we have. Right, great. So health education, as you know, it will be unit 2 chapter 3 part 1. So see, since this is a very big chapter, right, so it's going to be a big chapter, because of which I have to break this into parts. If I don't break it into parts, it becomes quite boring to study everything at one go, right? So I will be breaking it into parts. So today we shall discuss only part 1. So let us see. Alright, so first of all, what we have here, importance of people's participation in the implementation of health programs. See, this unit, as you know, is about diseases, right? So here we shall be discussing everything about diseases. So now this particular topic, importance of people's participation in the implementation of health programs. So every individual is important. You are important, I am important, young is important, old is important, male is important, female is important, humans are important, animals are important, right? So everybody is important. So let us see what we have. India has many health problems which not only cause great loss of life year after year, but also cause great misery and suffering. So see, what is India? India is our country, right? Our nation. So we are the citizens of India, right? So we as Indians, we will always think about the well-being of our country, right? So here it says that that India is a country in which people they suffer a lot of time with different type of diseases which affects the health as well as the life of the people. All right, so this results in huge loss of working days as well as reduced output because of poor health of people, which also affects the nation's economy. Now what does it say? It says that, see, suppose one day you become a teacher or an engineer or a doctor, right? But then if you are not well, will you go to work in your chamber? No, you will not go, right? Because you are not healthy. And as we know, health is wealth, right? So you can, with money you can buy everything, but you cannot buy the health, right? So that's why we say that health is wealth. All right, so when you are sick, what you will do, you will take leaves. Now also class 10 students, when you are sick, you don't go to school, right? You stay at home, you take medication, you go to doctors, you take rest. Likewise, when somebody is working in an institution or in a company or in a factory, he or she also takes leave. Now when he or she is taking leave, it will affect the economy of the country, all right, because the work is not done. So that day's work, suppose today is what, today is 13th of April, right? Today's work will be pending for tomorrow, again tomorrow's work will be pending for again another tomorrow, right? So it becomes like that. Some of these problems are common to all areas of the country, whereas the health problems are specific to each region or state of country. So what does it say? It says that some of the problem of our country is common to all the state. However, there are some problems which is specific to specific state, right? Besides, our population is growing pretty fast as a result of the widening gap between almost static birth rate and declining death rate of people of this country. So it says that the population explosion. So China was the most populated country in the world, but now as I'm making this video, India is already number one in population, which means our country, India, is the most populated country in the world. You should not feel proud. Don't feel proud, don't feel happy that our country is the most populated. No, because when the population is high, the need is high, the demand is high for food, for shelter, right? The demand is high for survival, for job, for different type of opportunities, right? Because the resources are limited. So when the demand is high, the supply should also be high. Therefore it is always good to maintain the population. So we will see there are different type of programs which will help in the maintenance of the population. And let me give you one example of a beautiful country, that is Bhutan. Bhutan is a very beautiful country where the people, they take health so seriously that health facilities is free of cost for all the citizens of the country Bhutan. And with that, again, another very good initiative or opportunity given by the Bhutan government is that free education. The education, you don't need to pay high fees, or you do not need to pay any fees if you want to study in Bhutan, right? And you don't have to pay any fees when you go to hospitals in Bhutan. And Bhutan, the people of Bhutan, they are very, very nature loving, which means they love the nature, they protect the nature, they plant more trees. They do, smoking is banned in Bhutan. Then again, plastics are banned in Bhutan. So you will know, all right, more and more about the country once you visit it. Let us go to the next slide now. All right. So importance of people's participation in the implementation of health programs. See, the government, the state government or the central government alone, they cannot help you and me. It is we who together have to participate. You have to participate, I have to participate, so that the government can help us. All right. So let us see. In order to combat these preventable problems, the government of India has launched certain nationwide health programs. So as there are different type of health programs which is initiated by the central government for the well-being of its citizens. So these programs are called national health programs. So what program? National health program. You have to remember this, class 10. NHP means national health programs. All right, so it is a program initiated by the central government. Central government provides assistance or help to the state government for their implementation. So as you know, we are the citizens of India as well as the citizens of Meghalaya, right? So we know that the central government is working hand in hand with state government. So central government alone cannot help it. That's why they give support to the state government, and state government is the one who is putting it into practice. All right, so all these efforts are made for improving the standard of living and quality of life of people and for national development. So all these efforts are made for what? They are made for the improvement of what? Improvement of the living standard of you and me, right? The people. The government of India also envisages ways to stabilize the population of the country. So the government of India also helps in what? In stabilizing the population of the country. Stabilize means right? No fluctuations there, no up and down. It will be stable. All right. You are an important part of country's population, and hence you should strive to make significant contribution towards the success of these programs by cooperating in the implementation. Now this is what I told you just now, that so this is what I told you just now, that you are important, I am important, we are important. Why we are important? Because it is the central government who will work with state government, and it is we, you and me, who will cooperate with the state government in order to make this program a successful one. That is national health programs. All right, that's the next slide. All right, where is it? Well, this is the next slide. So what does it say? National Family Planning Program. What is this? NFPP. You have to remember the full form, students. All right, National Family Planning Program. So the population of India has been growing at a very large rate, particularly since 1951. It increased approximately a rate of 2.5% per annum, when the gap between the birth rate means when somebody is born, right, and death rate becomes wider, the population grows rapidly. So when the difference between the birth rate and the death rate increases, what happens? The population grows rapidly. Rapidly means what? Very fast. So this phenomenon is called the natural increase in population. So my dear students, you have to remember this line starting from the population of no need that one, from when the gap between the birth rate, the number of babies born during a year per thousand estimated mid-year population, and the death rate, number of death during a year per thousand estimated mid-year population becomes wider, the population grows rapidly, and this is what we call natural increase in population. So you have to remember this very nicely. It will be asked in your examination. Most of the communicable diseases have been controlled as a result of increasing medical care and public health facilities in the country. Now you see, there are two types of diseases. I have already explained to you. One is communicable disease, another one is non-communicable disease. So communicable disease means which is transmitted from one person to another, like malaria or common cold or COVID-19, right? And non-communicable diseases are the diseases which are not transmitted from one person to another. For example, cancer is not transmitted, right? So these are the cancer or diabetes. Now let's see last line I forgot to tell you. Most of the communicable diseases have been most of the communicable diseases have already been controlled by the state and the central government. Why? Because we can see the advancement in the field of science, in the field of biology, right, in the field of medicine. So different type of technological advancement is introduced into the field of medicine. That's why the health conditions of the people of the country have increased or have improved, right? So now when somebody is sick, we go to hospital, we get treatment, and we come back home, right? But in the olden time, when the technology or the biology or the medical field was not so advanced, what happens? The people, they suffer, and at the end of the day they die, right? But now it does not happen so, because of the improvement in the medical facilities. All right, let's go to the next slide. Well, National Family Planning Program. So this is the continuation. All right, so agricultural production has increased. As I was telling you, when the population is more, there will be demand for food, for shelter, right? So there will always be the demand. So of course, when the population is increasing, we need more food, because there are more mouth which we have to feed, right? Therefore the agricultural field have to improve itself. Now you see, let me give you one example. Now you will see, when you go to market, most of the food are adulterated. Adulterated means what? Adulterated means the type of food which is food or fruits, let me say fruits for example, which is grown by using chemicals and fertilizers, especially the artificial chemicals which are harmful for our body, right? Now you see, there are different type of chemicals used in our food. Whatever you eat, be it biscuit, be it chocolates, be it broiler chicken, right? Be it broiler chicken, anything, it is adulterated, which means it is not safe for human consumption. Now don't you wonder why are they doing this? They are doing this because there are more population, there are more people, and in just one tree you cannot just grow 5 apples. You have to grow as many as possible. Why? Because there are many, the demand is so much, because there are so many people in India. That's why you need to use certain techniques. So certain techniques are being used. GMOs, genetically modified organisms, are also made with the advancement in the genetic field. Right? Why? So that the demand is met. So the best example will always be broiler chicken. All right. So broiler chicken, how many days it takes to grow from egg to a complete, mature chicken? You have to tell me in the comment section, how many days does it take? Now, industrial development and means of transport and communication have improved. As we all know, industrial development and means of transportation and communication. See, communication means what? Mobile phones, right? Before we used to write letters. Do you write letters? Of course you do, right? You still write letters, I know, but during our times also we used to write letters, right? But now we don't write letters anymore. What do? We just message, or we just call, right? We just call to whoever we want to get connected with. And transportation, before it was very difficult for children to go from one village to another, crossing streams, crossing rivers, as you can see in the above video. Do you see a small stream flowing? Yes. So like this they have to cross, which becomes very difficult when it is rainy season. But then now, since the transportation has improved, all these kind of barriers are removed. So all these advancements have raised the standard of living of the people and have made significant contribution towards reducing the death rate to a great extent, thus widening the gap between birth and death rate. So because of these are also the reason why there is a difference, or there is a gap between birth rate and death rate. However, the rapidly increasing population has diminished the benefit of these advancements that should have further improved the quality of life of people of this country. So what happens? The fast increasing population has diminished, or have become small, or made small, the benefit of this advancement. All right, because there are more people. So whom will you treat? Just to a single doctor, 50 patients are coming, so that doctor will look after whom? So it becomes very difficult, right? So you can see here, in order to check the rapid growth of population, the government of India launched the family planning program as a national program in 1952. You have to remember this year. Which year? 1952. Family planning program, as an family planning program, it was before, and it was upgraded or launched. The family planning program, the family planning program was named as national program in the year 1952. You have to remember this. India was the first country in the world to launch family planning as an official program. So you have to remember this line also, that India was the first country. Which country? India was the first country of what? For what? For launching family planning as an official program. All right. The program envisages methods to prevent unwanted pregnancies, treating sterility cases, and providing maternal and child care services. Now you see, what was the main aim and objectives of this program? The main aims and objectives of this program was to prevent unwanted pregnancies. So we see, before, when the people were not given proper sex educations, or when the people were not educated, or they do not know anything about pregnancies and all, that time there we have seen many type of unwanted pregnancies. So how it happens, why it happens, then what happens, what is the aftermath of this, what happens to a girl's life after she is pregnant, so these things were taken care by the family planning program or the national program. And treating sterility. What is sterility? Sterility means the inability of a couple to conceive a child, which means the parents are not able to get pregnant, or are not able to give birth to the babies. And providing maternal and child care services. See, after a child is born, both the mother and the child needs special services. They need care, right? They need attention, they need food, they need nutrition. So these are also taken care by what? These are also taken care by the national program, right? Now, the National Population Policy 2000 has a long-term objective of establishing country's population by 2045, which means, National Population Policy, this date also you have to remember. National Population Policy 2000, right? This 2000 you have to remember. It has, launched a long-term objective of stabilizing. It want to stabilize the country by the year 2020, by the year 2045. It means 2045. Some of the measures in order to achieve this aim, what does the government do? They included in this policy are advancing the age of marriage and to provide free and compulsory education up to the age of 14 of age. Alright, so here, in order to achieve this this objective, what did the government do? They have increased the marriage age, right? Now the marriage age for female is 18 years and for males it is 21 years, which means if you are getting married in 12 years, 10 years, 13 years, 14 years, 15 years, 16 years, 17 years, if you are a girl, up to 17 years, if you marry, this is illegal. Illegal means what? The police can catch you, alright? But for a boy, if a boy is marrying at 19 year or 18 year or 20 years, the boy will also be catched by the police because he is also doing an illegal thing, which means if you really want to get married, girl has to be 18 years and boy has to be 21 years, alright? Then only officially you can get married, alright, because that is the marriage age of our country, India. And government have also introduced free and compulsory education up to the age of 14, which means by the age of 14 you should have at least studied up to elementary level. You have to don't give importance to getting married or having children. So those things you can do later on in your life, but education you cannot do later. Of course you can do, but not with the interest as much as you will do when you are under 20, right? Population studies have been introduced in school curricula as part of such subjects as social science, health education, and even languages and mathematics. The program is now known as National Family Planning Program. National Family Planning Program. So this program is now known as National Family Planning Program. Alright, so you study health education, you study science, you study English, you study Garo, you study Khasi, you study mathematics, right? So everywhere something or the other you get to learn, right? Alright, so National Vector-borne Disease Control Program. You have to remember the full form of all this. NVBDCP, National Vector-borne Disease Control Program. You have to remember this, right? Our country was one of the worst malaria affected countries in the world. So now the people of Meghalaya, let me talk about, who do not know what is malaria. Everybody knows, right? You got malaria once upon a time, I got malaria once upon a time, right? We all got malaria. Malaria was especially common to Garo Hills region because it is hot and humid, right? So in Garo Hills region, in Tura, in Williamnagar, in South Garo Hills, in North Garo Hills, in Ampati area, so we have seen a lot of malaria patients, right? So it was estimated that in our country the sickness due to malaria was about 20% of the total population in 1953. See, so much, 20% of the total population. In which year? In 1953. You have to remember this date also. In other words, 7.5 crores of people suffered from malaria and 8 lakhs of them died because of this dreadful disease. See, about 7.5 crore of people, they have suffered from malaria, and about 8 lakhs of them, they could not recover from malaria and they died because of this disease, alright, which means malaria killed around 8 lakhs of people. This caused not only deaths but also economic loss to our country. See, dying, when somebody dies, it does not mean only loss to the family or to the to that individual, but it means a loss to the country, because we all are human resource, we all have our mind, we all have our skills. So we are all important. As I say in the beginning of the video, that you are important, I am important, because at least something or the other we will do for our nation, right? For example, the regular output of coal, the most important fuel in India, was seriously affected by malaria, which affected large number of laborers in coal mine. Now easy, in India we all know what is coal, right? Coal means koila. So koila, where do you find maximum number of koila? In Garo Hills, we find it in Nongal, right? Nongal, South Garo Hills. Nongal comes under South Garo Hills or East Garo Hills? South only, right? So we find it in Nongal. And in Giantia Hills also we find it, right? In Clariat side, or which side? Then again in West Khasi Hills we find it in Chalang, right? So we are very rich in fossil fuel, which means we have a large number of koila or coal in our state. So it is giving an example of when in these coal mines, the workers, the laborers are working, right? So before, in olden time, what used to happen is that they used to work in the coal mine and they used to get infected by the mosquitoes. Malaria causing mosquito used to bite one of them, and since they sleep all together in one kennel type or in one camp type of place, one used to get infected by the other, then again by the other, then again by the other. So they used to get infected from one another. So the expansion of industry was held up until the malaria control program was initiated in the coal field areas. Now you have to remember this full form, MCP. MCP means malaria control program. So malaria control program was held for the coal miners or for the coal field area, so that they know how to control the malaria, what are the things to do, what are the things not to do. Similarly, agricultural progress was greatly affected and many areas remained barren because they were so infected with malaria that nobody dared to go there. See, it also says that we all live on land. Do we live on land or we live in skies? Of course we live on land, right? So since we live on land, what happens is that even the mosquitoes, they live on land, right? So mosquitoes, they live on land. So these mosquitoes, they affect the people so much that the people, they do not dare to stay and do farming and all, because we know that whenever we go to what we call it, our agricultural fields for farming, the mosquitoes, the leeches, the insects, the snakes, they are there, right? So they are there because it is the wet area, water is there, is marshy area, right? So because of that, there used to be more mosquitoes and they used to bite the people, and consequently they get sick, and some of them can recover and live, however some of them die, right? So let's see what we have next. All right, so it was estimated that there was an economic loss of 750 crore per year before the malaria control program was started in the country. See, 750 crore, we cannot even imagine, we cannot even count. So it is so much money that was lost by our government because of this malaria, right? Which was a very big threat, a very big challenge to overcome until we introduced this malaria control program in the country. So this does not include the large amount of money spent on medicine and medical care provided to the sufferer. See, and this 750 crore, it is separate, it is not added in these medicines and care provided to the sick people. Again, if we count the money which is spent for the sick people's medicine and care, it will be even more than 750 crores. Alright. In order to fight this disease, a nationwide malaria control program was launched in 1953. You have to remember this date. Which date? 1953. So in order to fight this malaria control program was established in 1953. By this program, we were able to reduce the number of sufferers from malaria and also the number of deaths to a great extent. Now, because of this, what happened? Because of this malaria control program 1953, the government was able to control the death of the people. There were less people dying, alright? The achievement of malaria control program were so encouraging that in 1958 it was switched over to an eradication program. See, the malaria control program was become so successful and so encouraging that the name was changed later to eradication program. In which year? In the year 1958. You might get a question in which it might be asked like, when did malaria control program changed to eradication program? So you have to say it changed into eradication program in the year 1958. All right. Well, so now you see, however, malaria could not be eradicated. Sadly, the malaria could not be eradicated, which means malaria still exists. Other vector-borne diseases also increased meanwhile and needed to be controlled. See, along with malaria, there are also different type of diseases which are existing or which are still present. They have been clubbed together with malaria, and new program is known as National Vector-borne Disease Program. National Vector-borne Disease Program. You have to remember this full form, and also covers philanum and dengue along with malaria. So there are different type of diseases along with malaria. There is philanum and dengue, right? It envisages to kill the concerned parasite and prevent its breeding. Now you see, what do this vector-borne disease control program does? So what does it do is that it wants to stop the or kill the breeders or the parasites which is causing this disease. So this disease is caused by mosquito, right? Mosquito. I don't want to go so much into technical terms because it is actually, not caused by mosquito. It is actually caused by some parasites which gets into the body of the mosquito. All right. So microfilaria, then malarial parasite. This microfilaria is again another parasite which causes microfilaria, which causes filariasis disease, and this malaria is caused by female mosquito called Anopheles, right? Anopheles. So you will learn more about it. So NCER achieved this objective. A three-pronged strategy has been undertaken, that is government's effort, people's participation in research on vector-borne disease. Unless the three components are effective, our objectives will not be achieved. Unless. All right. So what do you see? See, if you want to achieve this program, or if you want to chase away the malaria, dengue or philanum, what you have to do is that you have to achieve it all together. We have to be united. We cannot say it's government work. Government cannot say it's people work. So people also have to work hand in hand for eradicating this. Government also have to work hand in hand in eradicating this type of vector-borne diseases. All right. Vector-borne diseases means the diseases which are transmitted from one person to another by an arthropod. Arthropods means those insects. All right. Now, according to the government's plan, all areas badly affected by these diseases will be treated with insecticides, and intensive search will be made to deter cases and treat them. In other areas, all cases of malaria, filariasis, dengue will be traced and treated. Various research studies are in progress. Now you see, what can the government do? So the government will go to the affected areas or to the villages where there are more cases of malaria, and they will try to do the needful by providing insecticides. So what was the insecticides given to sprayed? It was sprayed, or how to say, it was sprayed. Yes, it was sprayed in and around your house, in the in the drain, or in the near the kitchen garden. It was sprayed before. So the name of that spray, or the name of that insecticide, is DDT. What is DDT? DDT. DDT means dichlorodiphenyl trichloroethane. All right, dichlorodiphenyl trichloroethane. So you have to remember this. So that was the insecticides or the chemicals which used to be sprayed in our house, in and around our house, so in order to prevent the breeding of the mosquitoes. Now, all right, so let's see the next slide. So how can we help in this program? So how can you and me help in achieving this program? So help the people, help the health workers to spray in your area when they come for this purpose. See, many people all right, do not allow in. All right, many people, they don't allow these government people to come to their house. They say, oh, don't spray, we don't need this kind of insecticides in our house, or in our drain, we don't need. So but then, if you want to help yourself, if you want to help your family, your neighbors, your village, then you should allow these government people to come and spray these pesticides in the drain of your house, right? So that there are no mosquitoes breeding. Do not allow any area to develop as breeding place for mosquitoes. Do not allow water to stagnate in any place. Observe one dry day every week when all stored water should be emptied. Keep the overhead tank properly covered so the mosquito do not breed therein. Now, when you see tires lying down, bottles lying down, cans lying down, buckets lying down here and there, the packets, the chips packets, chip wrappers, you'll see they are lying down there, right? So what happens when tire is lying down, when chips packet is lying down, when biscuit packets are lying down? So the water, when it rains, the water is retained in those areas. In the plastic, water will be collected. In the tires, water will be collected, right? So when these waters are connected, what happens? Slowly the mosquitoes, they start doing what? They start breeding. They lay their eggs, and then small baby mosquitoes come up, and then they multiply rapidly, right? Very fast they multiply, and again they cause malaria. So what you will do is that when you see anywhere, be it a bottle, be it a tire, where water is collecting, you just try to throw that water, just clean that water. When you see in your near your balcony or near your flower pots, the water is accumulated, you try to remove that, because mosquitoes will stay there, all right, and it will affect you. When you are coming from school, you see water being collected in a tire or in a bottle near, when you're walking that side, you try to kick it, or you just try to disturb the water so that the mosquitoes are not able to breed in them, all right? Report any fever cases to the health worker so that he can take blood sample and arrange for laboratory examination of the same. Now you see, whenever you are getting fever, what you should do is that you should report it to your parents, and your parents will take you to the medical experts or to the doctors, and they will be collecting blood samples, and then they will test it for malaria parasites. MP tests are given for malarial parasites, all right? So that these days in cities you don't have to go to hospitals. Also, the people, they will come from hospital, they will take your blood and go, and then they will submit the report to you online. If any of your neighbor or friend or relatives has been diagnosed to be suffering from any of these diseases, tell him or her the need for taking medical treatment as advised by the health workers or doctors. See, if any of your neighbors or friends or relatives or family members are suffering from any of these kind of diseases like filariasis, malaria or dengue, you should advise them or tell them or request them to go and visit the doctors as soon as possible, or any type of health workers, so that before the condition worsen, they get healed and treated, right? All right, so the part 1 of this video will be up to this part, all right? So I'll be continuing this. What do you see here? National Tuberculosis Control Program. This one I will take in part 2. So in part 1 we have completed. How can we help? All right, let's see. All right, so we have completed this, right? Importance of people's participation. All right, very good. So health education unit 2 chapter 3 part 1 is completed here, right? So thank you everyone for staying connected with Ashok Tutorials, Meghalaya's first update channel, and please do let me know from which part of Meghalaya you're watching my video. You're watching from Garo Hills, Khasi Hills, Jaintia Hills, Ribhoi, Cherrapunji, then Williamnagar, Tura, Shillong. From where you're watching my videos, you should comment, all right? Then you are in which school, you are in which class, what is your name. So whatever you want to share with me, you can share, all right? No need to share me your name and all, but of course you can say like from which part of Meghalaya or which town or district you are from. You can share that, all right? So you should comment it, class 10 students. This is for you, right? Our MBO students. So since you are the future of the country, you are the future of the state, so it is our duty to build the best foundation for you as possible, as much as possible. So that's why, my channel Ashok Tutorials will always try to, help you all in getting, the basic information, or, getting the access to the knowledge or to the understanding or the experiences which I have. All right, so through this channel, you will be getting all the education related updates. All right, so as of now I have started only with health education, but in days to come I will also start with science, then I will start with English, then I will start with social science, then I will start with mathematics. All right, so we will talk more and more as we go on, but all I need is your support, your love, your care. In order to do that, what will you do? You have to like, share and subscribe to Ashok Tutorials, right? So wishing you all the best, and thank you everyone for staying connected with Ashok Tutorials, Meghalaya's first AMTED channel. Thank you.